I'm Steve Guttenberg, and welcome to your life in film.
This is the podcast that we ask our guests from in front and behind the camera, how did they get their foot in the door? What was the key to unlocking their success? What's their story?
That's a baby.
Oh, I know it's a baby. What's it doing there?
It's sleeping.
Back in the 1980s, our guest tied with Gene Hackman for the most prolific actor of the decade. Having had many home runs, including PoliceAcademy, Cocoon, ShortCircuit, and the biggest money-making movie of 1987, ThreeMenAndABaby, he's even landed a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. We chat about the wild Hollywood of the 1980s, Three Men and a Baby not having a finished script, why you've got to stay cool, and why he feels he hasn't cracked it quite yet. Our guest today is actor Steve Guttenberg. How are you doing, man?
Life is good. How are you, man?
I'm very good. Thanks so much for taking the time. I'm a big fan, man. This is a big deal for me, and you've been a huge part of my childhood growing up. So thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you for having me on your show. I love your show. You're so interesting, and you come from different angles, and you've got really cool guests. So I'm psyched to talk to you.
Cheers, man. Thank you so much. Well,
Yeah.
to start it off, you've had a long career. You've had like over 4 decades of work, actually working as an actor, which, we all know that's almost impossible. I'd love to ask how that began, where that first bit of interest, that first bit of intrigue into performing, where that started and what sort of age you were.
So great to start the conversation with the difficulties and the impossibilities of having and making a living and having a career in show business. So I'm so psyched that you get that right away because it has to appear easy. That's the idea of movies, television, theater, that it's emotional, but it appears easy, to get on that stage and to do Othello. How do you do it? You just walk up there and audition and get the part. Um, but interesting, this June is my 50th year, the anniversary of my 50th year of coming out to Hollywood. And and before that, I've about 55 years I've been training here in the city. So it just started out for me. A family friend named Michael Bell was an actor, and he grew up with my parents, and he did really fine work in New York and in Los Angeles. But his big success was the voiceover business. He was one of the first stars of voiceovers. Paul Frees and the voice of Disney and all those guys, he was right in there. So he became very successful. And when he visited us in New York, it was really cool because he was like so rich, and he had a Cadillac and had beautiful girlfriends. So when people would say, "What do you want to do?" I was 10 years old. I would say, "What does he do?"
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, why not? It's easily influenced at those ages as well. Like if you see
Well,
someone, you kind of like, okay, how did they get there? And it's the stepping stones and figuring that out. And what was was there a moment where you kind of, obviously being an actor, people bring up the sort of Peter Pan syndrome a lot with this, where it's, not wanting to grow up and make believe and play, in your toy chest. It's kind of that thing, but actually taking it seriously and thinking, I'm going to give this a go as a serious career. I'm going to be freelance. I'm going to take that risk. Was that a kind of a big decision, or being young and green, were you just like head first into it?
I kind of make that decision every day. You know, I think since I started, really, um, I love the craft. I love my job. Make no mistake, and I've been really lucky, and I'm grateful, so thankful that I was and still are able to join a company and act. So to me, I think that there's an impossibility to it that creates a great deal of pain. I think if you're going to be an actor, you're going to have some pain just about the business itself. And as I'll say 1,000 times, how good it's been to me and my family and my friends. But it's it's an enormous amount of dedication and energy and sacrifice. So many people leave their homes in Ireland, in London, in New York, in Chicago, in Dallas, in Des Moines, in India, in France, to come to maybe the New York stage or come to LA and try your hand at movie stardom. And that's an incredible sacrifice for them and their families. You know, that you leave the the, the nest of the town and go to this Oz, you know, thousands of miles away. So I think that um, it being my 50th year doing this, and I'm sincerely so grateful. But it's interesting to always talk about the toughness. Harrison Ford did a speech at the Screen Actors Guild. I forgot what the new word name is, awards, and he talked about how tough it is to get in the business. How tough it is, and it is. It's you you have to. I think have a relaxed attitude to do it for a long time, but there are those times when you're out of work, which is very, very difficult, you know?
100%.
Yeah. And you want to, you know, a painter can paint, a writer can write,
Mm.
you know, um, an actor needs other people to act with.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's a bit worrying if you're just doing it on your own in the mirror.
You could do soliloquies and
Yeah.
monologues forever.
Yeah, there's only so much of that your brain can probably take.
You
But
want someone to talk back.
yeah, 100%. I'm an actor myself, so I feel the pain. I've been doing it nearly 20 years, which blows my mind. But those downtimes, the struggle in between, and that's what a lot of people don't talk about, and we talk about it a lot on here, like the in between
Wow.
times, that the things that you do, the coping mechanisms, the things you put in place to keep yourself sane. Do you have things that you do in between work that kind of keep you feeling involved in the industry, keep you like ignited, keeping you like happy and positive?
Yes, there's, I'm going to bifurcate that question, personal and business.
Mhm.
Personal, I have a strict regimen that I have to follow because of my such an unstructured career in life, business life. So I'm up early and I have my faith, and I practice my faith in the morning. Um, and then I do some body work, um, and my ablutions, and get to the gym and get to the gym. I have a coffee. I'll say hello to some people. I'll read through the paper, you know, but I got to get to the gym, even if it's for 15 minutes.
Mhm.
And then I'm also very aware of my mental state. And perhaps I'm a little tough on myself, but I'm very aware of my mental state now more than ever because I've been educated in it. When I was younger, I had moods and I didn't know what the hell to do with them. But now, if I have a mood, I know that it's an emotion, and I deal with it more maturely and and with a firm grip. And being in this business, which um, can play on your mental health. I'm very
But
aware of my
appreciate it.
mental
It was a
health.
great picture.
I try to read
You're a fan?
Still is.
good books
100%.
and
Yeah, that's
You
a great.
watch
I'm
good
lucky
films
to have gotten in that
and
movie
good
and get that
um,
part.
streamers.
And it was a tough part to get. I mean, I had to
try
audition
to
a ton.
Yeah, no, I know. We're
connect
gonna
with
talk
people
about
that
it.
I
You know
love
what,
and
Johnny?
love
Give
me.
me a break. Give me a
got
break. I
time.
gotta talk to him.
Texting, give
You
a
like
call.
that Johnny
Just wanna say
Bronx knew
hi,
who you were,
how you
right?
doing?
Yeah, I like that a lot.
So
I like that.
important.
He's a very, very nice guy.
Um,
But, you know, it's nice to be recognized for what you do, your work and everything
And then
like
I
that.
have to behave in a way
I'm
that
very
I
lucky.
like
Yeah,
myself.
yeah, Dinah.
Dinah is a
And
great
if I
picture.
behave
In the
when no one's
meantime,
here,
you screw
and
me,
no one's listening,
right? You take the
and I
part
like
from
the way I
me.
behave, and then when
What
I
are you
go out
talking
into the
about?
world,
Me? I don't give a fuck.
interact,
I
and
understand
I
you,
like the
but
way
You know what I
behave,
mean?
But you don't
I don't
and I
have
wanna
want to
get
get
nuts.
better.
You know,
at
it's a
behaving,
part. It's
and I'm
not a
getting
big...
better, being less impatient, more patient. I'm a better listener now.
I follow this
I
guy
don't rush
online,
as much anymore.
SteveGuttenberg. He's an
And I think
actor
all
who's
of
been in a
this
million movies, including Three Men
builds
and a
my
Baby,
mental
which
health
is
personally
a classic.
and my
But anyway, I
physical
saw
health
that he gave this advice video, and I
personally.
thought it was so true.
But
So I
then
thought
it's
I'd
the
repeat
business side
this
too.
and give him
We
credit. He
actors,
was waiting for
you
a
know, we
train at the
can't
train station.
open up an actor store and then have 30 of us go out and do 30 plays and 30 films. It's just one of us. So we need to take care of this thing, the shell. It is the shell, because I do believe our energy goes out and we go somewhere else. But we got to take care of the shell. So I really try to do progressive things that will ensure my ability to perform and my mental ability to memorize and to be focused. And then I'm always reaching out to people I admire in the business, and I want to meet them or talk to them, or people that I think have an interesting take on certain spaces. Um, and at the same time, I work on my mental health business wise, to not envy and not compare.
Yeah, could be hard.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
That's a big one for us. And you know, when you control that thing, it still comes in, but if you smite it right away, as opposed to letting it in and letting it grip your heart and your soul and anaconda squeeze it, the second it comes in, you just chop its head off.
Yeah.
But
Well,
it's coming in.
the thing is, there's always going to be someone to look up to or someone to look at and think, oh, I wish I was there. I wish I was doing that. And it blows my mind that you obviously have that same thing. We all have that, but we need to learn to be happy with where we are and what we've achieved. And I mean, the incredible things you've achieved. It's crazy to think that you would ever kind of, look at someone else's career.
It's a terrible thing, but the other part of it is how much fun it is to work. As you said, it's like a little playground, you know, little toys and everything. I mean, to be in a group of people making a piece of theater, streamers, films, and whatnot is exciting and fun. And it's fun to get that coffee in the morning and your burrito, or, you walk into makeup, you say good morning to everybody or not, depending on what the deal is. And then enjoy being good at what you do. And that's really a lot of the fun that you understand as an actor, when every ball that comes in you're hitting. And in a baseball, in cricket, like, or every ball that comes in you smack, and it's like, great day. You're
Yeah.
just, you know so i, I find it so interesting. I like talking about, and the other part of it is the acting part, and my craft, our craft, in which our job is to uh, try to create authentic emotions in an artificial atmosphere, and understand too that, for me, I don't really have to feel these things. I have to um, be able to communicate them, and which is a really cool thing to I think, to know as an actor, is that you don't have to feel it.
Mm.
Like, so whatever that's, but you need to portray it so so much toward in reality that it appears that way. But I found that, like, doing a play repetition every night. I mean, I've there were times I've done it where I've ripped my heart out, and that's, tiring. Anyway, I've been blabbing. Sorry.
No, no, no. That's really interesting, man. And yeah, it's there are some actors out there obviously that are method, and I don't understand how they do it because they must be getting home. Well, it depends what the part is, obviously. But Daniel Day-Lewis in Gangs of New York, he must have got home and just been like, oh,
For real, for
yeah,
real. And that's and he's brilliant.
yeah.
But and I've done that. I've done that system,
Mm.
and I've played parts where I've stayed in character all the time. Not when I got home,
Yeah, it's too much.
but at work I did, and it was a quiet experience
Mm.
because you find yourself quiet a lot, you know,
Yeah.
because everybody's sort of respectful of what you're trying to do. But I did hear stories about it, but he's such a brilliant. I just saw his last movie with
Oh,
Sean Bean.
yeah. What was it called?
And yeah, it was wonderful, directed by his son.
I haven't seen it actually. I really want to see it.
You got to see it. It was unbelievable.
Mm.
He and Sean Bean, yeah,
Yeah, Sean Bean. Yeah,
they were brilliant. They played brothers
yeah,
who are estranged, and Daniel Day-Lewis lives in the woods, and he's off the grid, and his brother comes to, I think, bring him back, and they spend a lot of time together, the two of them. And man, they gave such free performances.
yeah. Oh, I need to
You
watch it.
know,
It didn't have
uh,
much of a release here, so I didn't get a chance to see it on a big screen. But I'll definitely, I'll check it
it
out.
it didn't get it did not get it didn't get a release yet. No.
It got a small release here, but it
Oh
was
yeah,
only
yeah,
on maybe for a week in the cinemas, and I couldn't get down there to watch it, unfortunately. But I'll have to
yeah.
stream it, annoyingly. But yeah, no, it's not in the cinemas anymore. To change tack, I want to go back and ask, that first moment of getting a job and, getting an agent and kind of figuring out all those kind of, moments early on. How did you get your first agent? What was the process? And then what was it like the first time you stepped onto set?
First agent I got was through Michael Bell, who was my godfather. He had a great relationship with a company called Cunningham, which morphed into CD and NY, I think. Anyway, he was a big shot there, so he was paying a lot of commission. So they listened to him and were very cotton to his desires. And he said, "We help my little godson out and send him out." So they sent me on my first audition. It was a Kentucky Fried Chicken commercial, and I got it.
Wow, first audition. That's
My
amazing.
first audition, I got it, and shot it. It's a football Kentucky Fried Chicken commercial,
I
and
need, I
I
need
got.
to find this footage.
Oh my God, I've tried. There's other commercials, a million other commercials I've done. I
Yeah.
couldn't find that one. I'd love to find that one because that was with the real Colonel Harlan.
Oh, wow, really?
It was with the real Colonel. I was like right
Wow,
next to it.
that's amazing.
It was
And
it was awesome.
Do
Yeah.
you, do you remember the experience? Do you remember being like there on set, and do you remember the pressure of it, thinking, "Oh shit, I'm actually doing this now, and I'm being paid to do it, so I've got to be good, and I've got to."
I was so happy, excited, and was very confident that I belonged there. And I didn't have any lines. I was just screaming.
Then it's like easing you in.
Yeah, but I felt excited about it. It was so really damn exciting, and that was so attractive about it. I actually worked for about a year doing about 15 commercials, a couple of movies, and after a year I quit.
Oh wow.
I couldn't really be happy with the culture of show business in LA. And I went to school in upstate New York, Albany. And I got a call from my agent about 6 months into it that they found me a job, and it's overseas, and it was a big movie. And I left school and I took it. And then I just carried on. But
Wow. So it really that could have been a real sliding doors moment. You could be doing something completely different now if you'd not picked it back up again.
yeah,
Wow. I
yeah.
noticed one of your very first films was The Boys from Brazil.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
Oh, is that the film you were referring to? And I mean that cast is ridiculous. Laurence Olivier, you got Gregory Peck, like that's
James
out the
Mason,
gate.
Uda Hagen.
Yeah. Wow.
It was great, and I got to meet them and spend some time. And they were class act people, all of them.
Mm.
So elegant, all of them. So fiery because they have the actor in them,
Yeah, yeah.
but insanely well mannered,
Mm.
generous, super generous.
It's always good to hear when it's, icons of the screen and stage and you hear good things because sometimes that's not the case. So I'm glad to hear
Sometimes,
that.
yeah.
And in terms of the moment that was there a project that felt like a game-changing moment, something where I'm looking at your credits and I'm thinking like obviously Police Academy was huge, but Diner kind of that had what an incredible cast of people that were on their way up. Was it one of those two, or was it a different project that kind of felt like things snapped into place?
I don't think I've ever thought that things have snapped into place.
Yeah.
I'm waiting.
Still waiting
Um,
for that, yeah.
I'm waiting. Uh, each job for me uh, is sort of like its own race.
Mm.
And no matter what I've done that's worked, I'm always looking at the thing I'm working on, or is that I'm starting at zero, and I really got to do this well, and I want to do it well. Um, but I've never really thought, oh, this is the one. This is my Saturday Night Fever. I think I hit a lot of doubles, some triples. I think a couple of home runs, maybe one grand slam. In sports analogy, but um, I've never thought that the movie was about me, although every actor does. But I always thought, and I still do, um, if I get in with the right group of people, I'm gonna look great. And that's what I've always tried. And sometimes you don't get it.
Yeah.
Frankly, sometimes you do projects where you're not with the right group of people,
Mm,
and it's not working.
mm, mm.
And you know, people say, "Oh, I haven't seen you in anything," and I work all the time, but the stuff I do in the last 3 years has not been a big hit. Let me think if anything came out. Yep, nothing really. But I work. I did a play. I wrote a play. It was a really beautiful play, and I did it a few places here on the East Coast. But it wasn't something that people go, "Oh, I heard about that." Except I did a lot of press. But so I think you have to be happy when it's not when you're not hitting home runs.
Mm, mm,
That you're getting a walk and barely getting on base.
mm.
Hey man, that's the game. Jason Robards said a cool thing to me one time. He goes, "Anybody asks you what's your favorite movie, you go, the next one."
Yeah. That's great though, because that's a positive way to look at it, and I think so many actors get tangled up in, you know, worrying about the work and it not being good or something not, you know, you can put your heart and soul into something and then it no one sees it, you know, it can be
What the
heartbreaking.
what the seriously? I've done a couple of really good movies which I thought I was awesome in, and no one saw it.
That's the thing. It's always, I've had a similar thing where, you know, I do a film that I was like, oh, I'm not sure about that one. That one does well. And then the one where I think, oh, this one's really great, disappears without a trace. You can't control it. And
No.
I'm interested. You said there that, you know, you felt like you've had a couple of home runs. You've had like, you know, these moments. I'm intrigued to, from your perspective, because obviously from mine, I can see so many home runs and so many great movies that you've done. But what are the ones that you're really proud of?
Honestly, all of them. Because it takes as much energy to make a bad movie as it does to make a good movie. You know, you get there and everyone has the best of intentions. Like an audience never walks into a movie going, I hope this sucks. You know. I mean, we all do that on a movie. Um, but I think that I think that you have to understand that it's an art.
Mm,
That this is an art. This is not a semiconductor. This is not a computer chip. This is a moving liquid career business. So when it's not working the way you want, you've still got to enjoy it. Now you're not going to enjoy it as much as hitting a home run, but you have to enjoy it for your dedication to the craft, stagecraft, screencraft.
mm, mm. And also, as frustrating as it is if a film doesn't do well, that's not really the point. As you say, like it's the experience and enjoying the moment when you're on set and that, you know, and all the people around you and it's such a collaborative family feel. And that, you know, when I'm not working, that's what I really miss. I miss that.
It's really cool. And you know what's interesting, and you probably find this when you work with people, you get so intimate with them
Mm.
in your conversations, and you tell each other things that you don't tell anybody, and then you don't see them again for 10 years.
Yeah.
And and then when you see each other, you have a really big connection.
Yeah,
I
100%.
find, sitting in each other's trailers, talking, you know, spending time together, you start to talk a little bit. You're sitting in the car together waiting for the cameras to roll and they're fixing stuff, and you start talking.
Mm. Yeah, there's not many, well, I don't know of any other industry like it. It's very unique in that way, for sure. And that's what I mean, that's why, you know, people strive, I guess, to be in it. Once you get a taste of it, you're like, oh, I need to keep getting those jobs, need to keep working. And, you know, it's not as easy as all of that. Um, I have to gush for a minute because one of your movies has meant a lot to me. And it may seem like the most obvious one, but just growing up, it is the film that if I'm feeling run down or sad or I need to be perked up, Three Men and a Baby is my go-to. There's only probably 4 or 5 films that I go to, and that is one of them. It just never fails to lift my mood. And it's just so I love that film and I just wanted to say that. And the sequel's brilliant as well. Very rare that you get 2 films that are so good.
Yeah,
I'm still waiting for the third. I'm hoping.
I know. I hope so. We've come to Disney so many times with great ideas to do another one. Maybe one of these days they'll say yes. Uh,
Fingers
I
crossed.
too love that movie. I got to tell you that Leonard Nimoy and Robert Court, who produced it, they knew exactly what they were doing, and Disney and Katzenberg. It was just like putting together a World Series team. Everybody was great. Script actually was interesting. The first we were supposed to shoot, they put it off for a few weeks because we didn't have a script. So we had these writers locked in a hotel room in the hotel writing away. But
That's how they used to do it back in the day.
yeah, it's like,
I'm sure it still goes on today, to be honest.
what the fuck,
Yeah.
But yeah, man. And when we were shooting it, sometimes my dad used to say, sometimes you have to take the good with the good, and it was like everything was good,
Yeah.
and we had a ball doing the movie. It was so much fun, and we'd go out to dinner every night and just love it. Go to the gym, and we had drinks, and it was just had parties. It was really fun. Anyway, that picture is a beautiful picture, and Leonard Nimoy and Bob Court produced it and directed it, and they knew what they were doing.
Yeah, man. I believe it was the biggest film of the year.
It
Like,
was.
yeah, that's just crazy. And you can see why it's such a likable movie. And
Yeah.
I believe that, and I think it was Fatal Attraction were like the two biggest films, and you couldn't get more polar opposite.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, no, an incredible film. Every time I watch it, and I watch it probably yearly, I always watch it and I think, is that I feel like that apartment can't be real. Was that a set? Because that apartment is like an apartment of dreams. It's like
It
who
was a
lives in
set.
an apartment like that in New York? It's crazy.
It's true. It was a set.
Yeah, got it.
It was amazing. Yeah, it was. What an apartment that would be. That would be I don't know, $50 million apartment or $100 million, probably $100 million apartment
Yeah.
on 57th Street. Sure.
Yeah, right on the park. It's yeah, crazy. But yeah, very, very fond of that movie. But when you have obviously amazing highs, there comes the lows, and we, talking about that in between work and everything else. That period you had, like from Diner to like, I mean, you had Cocoon, you had Three Men and a Baby, you had all these amazing films, Police Academy, Short Circuit, like an insane run. And I was looking up the stats, and apparently you and Gene Hackman were like basically the top employed actors in terms of how many films you were doing per year during the 80s, which I mean, an insane feat. Did it, because it's such an insane high, did you acknowledge and realize that at the time, or what was the experience like? I mean, that must have been, the 80s must have been insane for a start in Hollywood, in movies, but what was that experience like, surviving that? Because some actors don't come out of that alive. What was that whole kind of period of time like?
I think I was lucky. I was just really lucky. I didn't get involved in anything bad, and I had great people around me, and I still do. I try to associate with really high vibrating people, intelligent people, caring people. So I always had good people around me. Um, and I'm an outsider. Um, so I was always sort of, even though I was inside the honeycomb, I was always outside looking in, because because it is uh dreamlike, the way. And interestingly enough, my life now is not as hectic because I'm not doing as many films, but the acknowledgement you get in life by being a, an actor, a well-known actor, maybe a liked actor, a popular actor, the the it's easier to get through the slaloms be, because of that. It's an interesting phenomenon. So when I first got some fame, uh, I've always, I think 99% of the time I was pretty humble about it, because I understood the awesomeness of it, and I still do, and the power of it, and what the effect you have on other people. Like, how many people walk into a room and somebody goes, "Oh my God." Like, let's say Robert De Niro walks into a dinner at some somebody's house that nobody knows he's coming. Oh my God, are you Robert De Niro? Makes people flip. I mean, very few people go, you know, oh my God, are you Dr. Schwartz? You know, it doesn't happen. It's because that's real life, whereas show business life. So I think I've always tried to deal with it with um, with class and still have fun with it.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the longevity of a career says that you've obviously you've navigated it well. And also I've noticed you were talking about, staying fit and going to the gym regularly. And I rewatched Cocoon because I hadn't seen it for many years. And I was like, Jesus Christ, you were in some serious shape in that movie.
That
And
was crazy. That was crazy. Yeah, that
it
was
just shows you though
amazing.
you've kept that going. You work out regularly, and that has obviously been a staple. Keeping in shape, and as you say,
That's right.
that routine. Um,
Um, yeah, my dad was always a super fit guy, and a Army Ranger and a airborne Army Ranger and a policeman, New York City policeman. So, and I think it feels good. And actually, I think there's a big part of it. It feels good to go to the gym. It really feels good.
I'm the same. You've got to like keep moving, and I feel like, especially if you're working as well. Even then, I'm always going to the gym because I feel like being in a good mental space, especially when you've got a demanding role, it keeps you sharp.
Million percent. Absolutely. I'm with you. So important. So important.
Talked about the longevity and everything else, and there's so many actors out there striving and trying to get that role, to try and get a role. Do you have any advice for actors that are kind of, struggling right now and they're trying to get the foot in the door?
Be cool. Be as cool as you can. And whatever that means to you, be as cool as you can. And I don't think it's an easy feat when um, you're an actor at all. I don't think it's an easy feat. You try to be cool because that's what's going to make everything work. By keeping your wits about you, being calm, um, being poised. A friend of mine who's a great actor said to me, always be poised. So have your desk clear and keep your life clear, keep everything in shape, be ready when you do get a call that you got everything done and you can do your work, but be cool, and if you want to, I could add a million lessons, classes, and do theater and all those things, but I would just say keep yourself cool.
It was something that Robert De Niro said in an interview. I think it was like a round table, and he said a similar thing. And it was stay ready and to always be kind of prepared for that moment, because if it comes, you don't want to miss it. But also to stay humble as well. You've got to it's it's so many things that you can overthink it, but I think that's a really strong message to sort of just be ready, and when it comes, don't let it go to your head. Don't go crazy.
You go to work.
I'm sure you don't audition anymore, but can you go back to the time where you used to audition, and is there any sort of a memory that you'd be willing to share with us that was horrendous? I mean, we've all had horrendous audition moments where it all falls to pieces. If you're willing to go there with me, if you can remember any of those early auditions.
Yeah, and I still audition because I want to get into great pieces. So there are times when I'll get hired, and there are times when I have to audition. But I did do. I wanted to play a mafia boss's son, and I came in for the audition, and casting director said, there's no way you're going to get hired. You're too ethnic. Too Jewish. All right. So she said, I'm not even bringing you in. And I had the audition. So I left there and I went to a grocery store and I bought Vaseline petroleum jelly. And I went to a used clothing store and got a leather jacket. And I greased my hair back and full of this Vaseline. And I went in for the audition and I was talking like this and hey, how you doing? And da da da. And I got in there and I got all the way to between two people, me and another guy, and the other guy got the job. But
You got to
uh,
commit. You got to commit with
I
these things.
committed, man. That and it took me probably, I don't know, 6 months to get the Vaseline out of my hair.
Oh no.
I don't know.
Steve, thank you so much, man. I'm, as I said before, a huge fan. So this is a big moment for me, and I really
Thanks.
appreciate this. And keep up the good work, man. I always enjoy your movies, and maybe one day we'll meet on set. Who knows? Fingers
Hey,
crossed.
that would be great, man. You've got such a great way about you, and you got such soul, and you're a very deep, you have great integrity, and you have great values, and that's what makes people like you and people like me be able to communicate so well because we have the same values, and that's great. And I appreciate talking to you too. You're cool.
Cheers, man. Thank you. If you enjoyed this episode and you want to support us, get early access and exclusive content, all ad-free, click and join the Life in Film YouTube channel and become a member now. Thank you to our guest Steve and to Sean at Cats PR. As always, thank you to our sponsors, BetterHelp and MoviePosters.com. Perfect, man. Thank you so much. And
Sure,
all
brother.
the best, man. And
Thanks, man.
take
You
care.
too. You too.
Thank you.
Keep that positive attitude.
Keep going. Keep going.
Keep going. Keep going. Don't let the turkeys get you down.
No, man. You got to keep going.
That's
Take
it.
care.
You too,
Cheers.
brother. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Good night, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. I hate to leave you, but I really must say, good night, sweetheart. Good night.